Hey everybody, this is boxing referee Jack Reese, and you are listening to the Ringside Boxing Show.
Live from Monterey on California's beautiful Central Coast, this is the Ringside Boxing Show. I'm Dennis Taylor, welcoming you to join me and my expert analysts, Travis Hartman, Rizwan Zahid, and John J. Raspanti today and every week for the hottest, sweatiest show on the West Coast. And now, from Studio 1A, it's the Ringside Boxing Show.
Welcome to the Ringside Boxing Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. I'm Dennis Taylor, and we got some great stuff coming at you again today. First of all, our featured guest today pulled off one of the biggest upsets of the 1990s when, in his 12th pro fight, he knocked out the reigning WBO heavyweight champion in 93 seconds, a guy who was 38-1, 32 knockouts. Then in his very next fight, he got knocked out himself, suffered a brain injury that almost killed him, and retired from boxing forever. And then 8 years later, he was in the boxing ring again, playing Sonny Liston opposite Will Smith in the motion picture Ali. You know who I'm talking about? Stick around to find out, because we got a terrific interview coming up for you in just a little while. Lots of interesting stuff also happening in the UK right now, and our British correspondent Paul McLaughlin will be with us to tell us all about that. And we will launch our proceedings again today with a look at boxing's current events, including the weekend fights, with our expert analyst. Travis Hartman is a professional boxer, trainer, and promoter from Osborne, Missouri. He's now living and training in Orlando, Florida. Rizwan Zahid's a boxing journalist from Toronto. John J. Raspanti's chief lead writer for MaxBoxing.com and DogHouseBoxing.com. And John wrote a brand new book that's available to you guys right now. It's called Blood on My Notebook, Dispatches from the World of Professional Boxing. Readers are giving it a 5-star rating on a 5-star scale so far. Not bad, huh? All right, guys. Hey, Rizwan couldn't be with us today. He's doing his television production thing up in Canada. But the monster, Naoya Inoue, stayed undefeated Thursday in Japan. He won the World Boxing Super Series Muhammad Ali Trophy in the bantamweight division with a 12-round decision over future Hall of Famer Nonito Donaire. This was a spectacular fight, another legitimate Fight of the Year candidate. In Inoue, the winner came out of it with a busted eye socket. Travis, you beat Nonito Donaire at a national tournament when you were a kid. You said he could crack then, and he can crack now, and you picked him to upset Inoue in this fight, and there were moments, particularly in that 8th round, when it looked like you were going to be right. This was a fight people are going to remember for a long time. How impressed were you with this fight? Yep.
I was super impressed because, first off, I have to tell the Ringside Boxing world that last week on the radio, I said that Nonito was going to get beat, but I immediately, in our group messages about a day later with you guys and Riz and John, I took that back and I said I thought Nonito was going to pull off an upset. Even though I was wrong, I do think Nonito did prove a lot of people that he can still fight, that he can still punch, and I think Inoue would probably agree with that, as he suffered a broken eye socket. I mean, you have to be able to punch. This is what people don't realize about boxers. They're doing this with 10-ounce boxing gloves on, 8-ounce boxing gloves with padding. Can you imagine what these guys would do to the average person if they took their glove off and hit them? I mean, to break an eye socket with a glove on, it's just, I mean, people, it's just amazing. And they're, 118 pounds and doing this. So, like, it's phenomenal how hard Nonito Donaire hits. And I just, what an amazing fight, though. The boxing fans won on Thursday night with that fight because Nonito laid it all out there. And Inoue proved why he's probably going to be the next coming and the next 118-pound champ for sure, because what a tough guy. He fought with a broken eye socket, and he still won. And he almost knocked down Donaire. I think he had Donaire kind of hurt and down the body shot late in the fight as well. So, I mean, all props to both of those guys. Those guys and fights like that are what keep boxing fans coming back for more, and we need more of that. And I will always respect and honor those guys for the valiant efforts they put up, because that was an amazing fight, guys. And even though Nonito didn't pull off the upset, he came dang close. He came a lot closer than a lot of people thought would happen, and I think that's a win in his case.
Could he crack as a kid?
Yeah, he could. He definitely could, and I think some people develop power over time, but I also think some people, it sounds crazy, but I think some fighters are born with just power. Whatever it is, I don't know, but some people are just born with that power because from what I remember when I fought him, he hit hard, and he was up there with the likes of like Terrence Crawford, and that's somebody who I think hits harder than anything as well, is Terrence Crawford, because I also fought him. But, yeah, even back in the day when we were kids, we were teenagers, he could punch then.
John, Donaire's 10 years older than Inoue. He's been in a lot of tough fights. In the past 3 years, he's lost decisions to Jesse Magdaleno and Carl Frampton. Were you surprised that he was able to give Inoue that much of a war and go the distance with him?
Yes and no. What he said about 3 or 4 days before the fight really got me, because he said he needs fights like this to get him up, and I could understand that because with all the success that he's had in his career, I would think that you would need somebody like that in a way to make you say, "All right, man, I this guy's good. I'm going to be up for this." And there's always a risk that you might mentally want to be up, but physically at 36 years old, you might not be able to do it. But man, he was there. I mean, he was the boss in a lot of that fight. I mean, he was backing Inoue up. He was bigger. He was intense. I was just super impressed with Donaire. His effort was all there. That's a fight of the year, I think. We've had so many good ones in the last 6 weeks. With Porter and Spence and the Golovkin-Derevchenko fight. We've just had some really good fights. And this one was just exciting back and forth. And there was no quit in there. No way. I mean, that body shot made him grimace like, Gotti and Ward, and he got up. And then he stunned Inoue later in the round. So, I was really impressed by Donaire. But I was equally impressed by Inoue, because when you're a guy like that and you're 18-0, 16 knockouts, all we want is boxing. People, is we want to see you get pushed. We want to see you get pressed, because then we know we want, the old cliche, take you into deep waters. We want to see how you respond. He responded. I mean, he showed the heart of a champion. He showed the power because it was a seesaw battle. He showed everything. There's been some criticism, of course, on social media where everybody's a critic about, he was exposed. It's like, no, he was not exposed. He is a super fighter. Donaire is a super fighter. What I was thinking is what would happen if Donaire was 26 instead of 36. I think Donaire would have taken him. Yeah, I think he would have. He still got the power in his left hook, obviously, and the right hand. I mean, these are wicked shots he was landing. Determination, effort, all there. That's what makes boxing so beautiful when you watch that fight. That's what it's all about. And then the sportsmanship, guys. I mean, we're talking about two really good. Wasn't that incredible? Before the fight, after the fight, and Inoue lets Donaire borrow the trophy to show the kids. I mean, we're talking. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be all the bragging and yelling at each other and screaming. This is the way it's supposed to be. This is why we love it, and we call it the sweet science. And that is an example of, to me, what it is and what it should be. And I wish it was like that more, because that's the thing. It doesn't happen like that very much. So when it does, it always stands out. And I just wish that we had more of these moments where, like, damn, we've had a few lately, though, so that's good. But that was just a hell of a fight, guys.
Yeah, I think all three of us in this conversation have met Donaire, and Donaire's always been a class act ever since he.
Yeah, total class act.
I met him when he was. I think he'd had 2 or 3 pro fights when I first met him, and nice kid then, nice kid now. Speaking of kids, Travis, if you're 26 years old and this is your 18th pro fight, can a fight like this take something out of you at that age?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, these guys are elite athletes. I don't think it does. I think it just adds to the character. I think it even adds more to the moxie of this guy, of Inoue, and to know that he can get through stuff like this. I don't think it takes away from him at all. I think it adds to it because, like I said, it gives you that confidence of, like, oh my gosh, I've been deep waters with an elite, with a former. Oh, we forget that Donaire was a former pound for pound. I mean, he was a former #1 pound for pound for a while. So, I mean, for anyone to get through that, it's phenomenal. And the kid is got a bright future, that's for sure. And John made a comment about Donaire's 36, guys. I'm 36. That's not that old, John. It's great though. But you are right. I would have loved to see that fight with Donaire and Inoue when Donaire was 26, 27, 28 years old or so, and to see how that would have ended up as well. But you never know. It could have been the exact same fight still. Who knows? But either way, I know that what we all got was fantastic. And to your question, Dennis, no, I think this adds to Inoue. I think this adds to his character. I think this adds to his confidence. I think it adds to all of that going forward to know that he can knock a guy down late in a fight. The guy get up. And that's something that I've said on the show before is that if you knock a guy down late in a fight, you're kind of tired yourself. And to see that guy get up, it's very, very demoralizing a little bit because you're knocking down, you're sitting up and you're like, oh, crap. You're like, please, don't get up. Like, just don't get up. And then when they get up, you're like, oh, my God, this guy got up. It takes a little bit out of you. So the fact that Inoue knocks him down, Donaire comes back and hurts him, and Inoue gets through it still, I think that's a huge confidence builder for him for later on in fights and big fights later on because, like I said, he's only 26. He's going to be in a lot more big fights, and I think this was a great test for him and a great test. He passed with flying colors, to be honest. I mean, you beat equally a former pound-for-pound best, and by all means, Donaire is 36, but he's not past his prime. I mean, he might be past his prime, but Donaire is not a faded, old, washed-up fighter. Not even close. That guy gave an elite performance, and that's probably still about 90% of what Donaire is capable of. So I still think he beat a high-level Nonito Donaire still, and it's a confidence-building fight, I think. I mean, not that he needed the confidence because, I mean, he's undefeated, but it's a great fight for him still.
John, do you think we'll see a rematch, maybe in the U.S.?
I think we'd like to see it. The question is because if Donaire can dig down again, dig down like he did, he probably could do it again. I would never underestimate him. He is, especially at fighting at that lighter weight. And see, that's another thing that's phenomenal is older guys usually when they go back down like that, they look sluggish and ragged, and he did not. He looked sharp and efficient and. I haven't heard anything about it. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. Nothing in boxing really surprises me. I haven't heard anything, but like I said, and I'm sure Inoue would come to the United States and fight. I'm sure he would. I have no doubt in my mind. He just signed with Top Rank, so
he says he wants his next fight to be in the U.S. Actually,
okay, he should. He should invade the U.S. I mean, we should see him out here. This is what we want to see. I mean, the guy is a phenomenon. And I want to say something a little bit about that too, Dennis and Travis. Is what I saw too was he's one of those guys that when he was getting his butt kicked a little bit, he didn't mind it. And I mean, in a sense, he wasn't panicking. He was like, "Oh, good, this is the kind of fight I wanted." I wanted to see how it would respond to this, and I think he's going to be better for this. It's not going to do anything to him. He's going to be. He's been through it. He's learned from it. And if he gets in it again, he's going to be, I've been here already, and he will get in it again. Of course he will. But he's done it. He had somebody push him and test him and fracture his eye socket or whatever and cut him. He was bleeding really bad. I mean, and he passed. So it's a win-win for him and a win-win for Donaire. But I don't know. I don't know. That's a really good question. I kind of want to see it, and then I kind of don't because I don't know what Donaire wants to do. I didn't hear what he said. A lot of people were, of course, saying he should retire, and I say that sometimes. I don't think he should. I think he still loves what he's doing. He's still got a lot left. Like Travis said, he doesn't look faded. He looked a little faded when he fought Frampton, but he doesn't look. He's better now, back down at that weight. So keep going, Nonito. I mean, if you want to, it's all up to him. If he wants to, fine. If he doesn't, walk away. That's great. What a Hall of Fame career that man has had. Walk away with your head up. Tremendous.
Travis, you've had 45 pro fights. Is that right?
Yep, 45 to 46, I believe.
Did it piss you off to see two YouTube stars make, what was it, $800,000 a piece for that fight?
$900,000 each.
9K. Yeah, $900K. Did that make you mad?
You know, I was conflicted on this a little bit because that is a lot of money. I know there's a lot of boxers out there that probably deserve that money. But you also got to think, I mean, we're in a different time now. This is more modern time, and they were getting paid that not because of their boxing, not because of their boxing ability. It was because of what they brought to the sport, because of the subscribers, because of the views, because of all of that. So they weren't getting paid based on boxing. And let's be honest, I mean, this was probably a one and done for both of those guys. But watching this lead up to all of this, I had a little bit of a day yesterday where I just watched all this DAZN 40 days and all the training that these guys were doing. I respected it, Dennis. It's kind of crazy to say that, but like I watched these guys training and they were respecting the sport of boxing. They were training their butts off. They weren't doing this as like a sideshow. And if you listen to KSI, you know, he said the same thing. He actually got mad at Logan Paul in one of the press conferences and was like, you know, stop disrespecting the sport of boxing. He's like, you're making this a sideshow. You know, he's like, this is real. We're training real. We're taking this serious. And you know what? They both really did take it serious. Are they high-level professional boxers? Heck no, Dennis. But I think all of us on here can say that we've watched some ESPN undercards where I've seen worse fighters making their pro debut, guys. I have. We've seen fighters that had no business being in that ring, then they were worse off than Logan Paul and KSI. So that's kind of what I took from it. I was like, you know what? I've actually seen worse fighters make their pro debuts in a boxing ring, and they were way worse than Logan Paul and KSI. So I think we're coming into a new era of boxing. We're coming into a new era of just life in general where YouTube and online and DAZN, it's a different atmosphere. I mean, you either go with it or you get lost in the mix of everything. And I think that boxing, I think that we've benefited from it, to be honest. I think for sure we got a lot of fighters. I don't think that the fights, I don't know if maybe we added any more fans just based on the fights that were that night, to be honest. I know a lot of people tuned in, but I think a lot of people tuned in to watch Logan Paul and KSI. And I don't know if those same fans will tune in again when they're not competing. But it's just, who knows? It was a roll of the dice. I mean, that's what it was. And I think for the night, I think that DAZN made a good business move, and that's what it was. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think that it was disrespect to boxing. I know that I'm a boxing purist, and I love boxing. It's all I've done my whole life since I was 6 years old. And I see a lot of boxing guys out there that are pissed off at this fact, but I'm not. It didn't really piss me off. I watched it. I watched their training. I watched how serious they took it. They had real professional boxers and trainers in their corners. And
we lose you, Travis? Travis, I think we lost you. Call us back if you can still hear us. John, I'll tell you what, man. I did find it demeaning that they were in the main event, and that both guys made more than Billy Joe Saunders in that fight. Yeah. You know, if they had put him on the undercard, just to draw fans and pack him in, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. But man, to make them the main event, that did bug me. All right, well, I'm going to move on to a different subject here.
Can't I give my 2 cents on that, Dennis?
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
2 cents on that really fast. Yeah, because I don't
usually
disagree with Travis on things, but I thought from the beginning and yesterday was it was a massive hype job, and the fact that they got paid $900, I don't care. No disrespect to them, they should train hard. And I have seen guys make their pro debuts who might not be as good, but they're getting paid, $1,000, which is what these guys should have got paid. $1,000, not $900,000. So it was just a massive hype job. I really hope we don't see any more of it. I had a guy who writes for Max Boxing, a young guy in his 20s who was interested, and I said, "Good, you handle it. I have no interest at all." From what I understand, even Devin Haney and Billy Joe Saunders didn't look very good So the whole night was just kind of I would call it a joke, but it was just I wouldn't call it a sideshow, maybe just an act of ridiculousness. And hopefully this doesn't lead to more of these YouTube grudge fights. But I just, I agree with you. It wasn't anything. Maybe we're too old and too grouchy, but I just didn't find anything about it appealing at all.
The other thing I wanted to toss to you, John. Yeah, Travis is back with us. Good. And Travis, you have any follow up to that?
No, it's I completely. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
So far, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I just speaking of in a new era of everything is technology and cell phones. They're still catching up, I guess, because I'm just sitting here and my phone obviously cut me off for no reason. But I understand where John's coming from. I understand, and I think that's a perfectly acceptable opinion. I really do. But for some reason, like I said, it just didn't anger me as much as it probably should have. Maybe I thought it was what it was, but here's the deal. This is what I agree with you guys about right now is that I just hope we didn't open up this can of worms of now where we see all of these other influencers on Instagram and all these other people that are jumping in the ring and trying to do this. If they do this, make it amateur fights. That's what they have to do. And here's the deal, too. This is where the commissions and the promoters that we need to start holding accountable as well, because I don't blame KSI and Logan Paul. If they can make $900,000, good for them. You know who I blame is we gave them a platform. Boxing did that. Eddie Hearn did that. The commission did that. There's not really a lot of guidelines. There's not really a lot of guidelines to stop all of that. And this is where we can go all the way back to boxing. Maybe boxing needs that commissioner. Maybe boxing needs that head that runs all of boxing all over the world. Like the NFL has a commissioner, NBA has a commissioner, MLB has a commissioner. They all have that stuff. And I think that at the end of the day, if there was a commissioner that kind of that was an overseer of all of this, I don't think that this sideshow would have necessarily happened. I mean, you don't see sideshows happening in all these other sports. Granted, you can say that the MLB has done a smaller level of that when Michael Jordan jumped from basketball to the Major League Baseball. He jumped over there and he started playing baseball, which we all know that Michael could play a little bit, that's for sure. But was he a Major League Baseball player? No. But he got a chance and an opportunity because of who he was. So essentially, I'm not calling KSI and Logan Paul Michael Jordan, but on a scale of popularity and all of that, they're pretty close to being up there. I mean, those guys, I think, have like 20 million followers or 30 million subscribers or something wild on YouTube each. So we're talking about they probably got 50, 60 million subscribers together when you combine that. So the popularity of those two, it is up there on the Michael Jordan level, and the Michael Jordan level of meaning that people all over the world know who KSI and Logan Paul is. Granted, I must be getting older too, Dennis and John, because I'm not going to lie. I trained a kid here in Florida. He's 17 years old, and he knows who Logan Paul was. I was like, who the heck is that? I was like, I've never heard of this person. The first time I found out who Logan Paul was a couple weeks ago. I'm not even kidding. I was like, I've never heard of him. They're like, are you serious? Everybody in the world has heard of this guy. I'm like, well, I guess I'm living under a rock, guys, and maybe I'm showing my age right now, but I never heard of Logan Paul either. So, it was what it was. It's behind us, but you know what? There was some controversy in that fight, guys, and I'm gonna open up this can of worms as well, but I thought Logan Paul should have won. Jack Reese took 2 points away from Logan Paul when it really probably should have been 1 point. And with that 1 point deduction, Logan Paul should have won that fight. He lost by a split decision. And if you want to base it on the exact rules that everybody goes by, not sure why Jack Reese took away 2 points. Even Steve Smoker, who was ringside, said the same exact thing and said there's no way that should have been a 2 point deduction. And not sure why he did it. And when he did that, he ultimately affected the fight, and Logan Paul ended up losing by a split decision because of that 2 point deduction. So you might see another fight, guys, and this might be the trilogy that nobody ever expected or thought to see. But I'm just saying that there is a possibility, even though KSI in the post-fight interview, because I watched the whole fight, I watched the whole night. Even in the post-fight interview, KSI says that he goes, it's over, it's squashed. He's like, we are not doing this again. But Come on, guys. You're going to tell me that if DAZN or somebody else, or even, let's just say YouTube TV comes back and says, hey, guys, we'll give you guys $2 million each to fight again for the trilogy, you really think they're going to say no? And do you really think that people are not going to watch? People are going to watch. And that's the cliche and the sad part about it.
My issue with it is that Hearn put it atop a professional boxing show ahead of Billy Joe Saunders and Devin Haney and these guys that really deserve to be in main events right now. And do a celebrity boxing event. I'll be the first one to admit, man, I could not wait to see 7'6" Manute Bol fight 380-pound William the Refrigerator Perry a few years ago. And John, I bet you watched that too.
I did not. I did not watch that. No, I did not watch that, Dennis.
You know what?
Or did I wanted to see Tanya Harding fight Paula Jones too?
I might
have
watched
it was
that.
just for what it was.
Yeah.
Let me know what you guys think about this too. Okay, this is where I was conflicted with Eddie Hearn as well. Is that so? Last weekend they had the Canelo fight and there was a UFC fight going on at the same time. And as we all know, DAZN delayed Canelo's fight until the UFC fight got over, right? Well, listen to this. This kind of made me a little mad that there was a world title fight on ESPN Plus with Jamal Herring, who was a former Marine and all of that, fighting an undefeated guy, Lamont Roach Jr., a serious professional boxing match, right?
Yeah.
That fight was still going. It was like going into the 9th round, and I was actually watching it. And I was trying to watch Logan Paul one too, and when they didn't, all they had to do is delay the DAZN. They had to delay maybe 10 to 15 minutes, so I could and everybody else could finish watching the ESPN Plus real boxing, and then we could tune into the Logan Paul KSI, quote unquote sideshow. But they didn't. They went ahead and went him in the ring and everything while that fight was still going on. So my question is to Eddie Hearn: if you're a true boxing guy, how the heck did you take a back step to UFC and delay a legit contender like Canelo Alvarez from going in the ring, but yet the very next weekend you wouldn't delay a sideshow essentially for the finish of an ESPN Plus legitimate world title fight with Jamel Herring and Lamont Roach Jr.? We need to address that. That's the serious thing there that Eddie Hearn is kind of he's wishy-washy here, guys. And I said something last week when that happened, when he did that with Canelo, and I'm like, what's going on there? Is there some Dana White stuff going on behind the scenes that they're in cahoots now, or something being talked about? I don't know what, guys, but that still to me doesn't make sense, because like I said, if Eddie Hearn was really and DAZN was really doing that to appease both combat sports fans, then how the hell did they not do that Saturday night when Logan Paul and KSI were going in the ring, as well as Jamal Herring and Lamont Roach Jr. in a legitimate world title fight on the ESPN Plus streaming app? So, Eddie Hearn talks out of both sides of his mouth, and I used to respect him and like him a lot. But he's been doing that quite a bit the last year or so, and now that he's getting really, really, really big, and he's getting on this platform that he's kind of talking out of both sides of his mouth, and I'm starting to lose a little respect for him from a lot of different reasons. But that one's in one of them big time right there. Is why would he not delay his DAZN fight with Logan Paul and KSI when he definitely did it the previous weekend when Canelo was going in the ring and the UFC was finishing? I don't get it. I just don't get that.
Yep. This is the Ringside Boxing Show from Monterey, California. I'm Dennis Taylor. We got our expert analysts with us, Travis Hartman and John J. Raspanti. Riz couldn't make it this week. He's working hard up there in Toronto. Okay, John, last week the boxing media pretty breathlessly tried to imply that Andre Ward was ready to come out of retirement to fight Canelo Alvarez. Andre and his trainer, Virgil Hunter, and I don't think you were really buying into that. On Friday, Ward made it clear that he wasn't interested. Why do you think he passed?
Well, Andre Ward, he always did everything his way. I mean, I noticed that the first time I ever talked to him, he had a plan, and he gave his word, and he wants his word to be golden. He doesn't want his word to be something where we go, yeah, right. That's not saying that he could change his mind someday, because it happens in life. And as I said, I wouldn't have been stunned, because see, the hard part for him is that he's very, 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 and I'm not exaggerating, competitive. You know he thinks about fighting Canelo because he thinks probably at 35, even though he hasn't fought for a while, that he can beat him. And he probably can, to be honest, because he's so smart in there. But he also said that he was done, and I like it that he said, look, I said I was done in 2017. That was what I meant, and I am. And I think that's it. And I think he talked to some people like he always does. He likes to get other people's opinions. He might have been wavering a little. Who could blame him? Travis and I were talking about it. We were saying, what do you think, 20 to 30 million? And, yeah, that could be. And then Virgil Hunter said, well, 30 million might do it, see? So we were pretty much right. And even Virgil was, like, entertaining the possibility of him coming back. But I think it's – I actually do believe it's the right decision, too. I mean, I would have been fine with him coming back if he wanted to because I would understand it as a person with all that money and, of course, as an athlete wanting to compete again. That's always what they say is when they retire, the hardest part is to give up that competition. And I love competition, so I understand it. I'm extremely competitive, as anybody knows who knows me. So I would have been, it didn't even me, I would have been, man, look at all that money and the competition. Beat this guy Canelo. He's only lost once. Yeah, but he gave his word that he was done, and I think that was it. I think Andre's obviously very smart, and he doesn't just think about one thing. He thinks about what his friends think. He thinks about what he wants to do. He thinks about his legacy. I mean, you got to think, you love that zero with your record. You know, a 32-0 as a pro, Alzagi 46-0, Marciano 49-0, Floyd Mayweather really 49-0. I don't even want to count that exhibition joke fight with Conor McGregor. Whatever.
Right, yeah.
That zero really looks nice. And he could have lost to Canelo at this point because he's not what he was, as we know. He's slower, but he could have won. See, so it would have been a big risk, a lot of money, and Andre Ward does, as I said, I go back to what I said. I noticed that when he was 25, the first time I spoke with him. You know, people are telling him he needs to be more flamboyant. Nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it my way. You need to knock more people out. Well, look, I'm winning. I'm not going to try to bulk up to knock people out. I'm doing it my way. So I think this was just another example of him saying, yes, I hear you. Yes, I kind of dig it. I understand it. I would like to do it partly, but I gave my word that I'm done, and I'm done. So I think that was pretty much how he said it.
You know what? As a professional athlete, Travis, you guys, your clock starts ticking when you're 30, 31, 32. And he retired young, and man, he's got to be. You know, you're kind of like a woman who wants to have a baby. You know, there's only a finite amount of time that you can do this. This would have been a once in a lifetime paycheck for Ward. He would have added to his legacy. Are you surprised he didn't bite?
Well, you know, I mean, I'm going through that myself right now as well. I'm 36 years old, and I said in January that I wouldn't fight in 2020, and, you know, 2020 is right around the corner, so my retirement's right there too, and I gave my word as well. So I do understand where he's coming from, for sure. But what I also just want to make sure everybody realizes is that there was no real offer on the table either here. So Andre really hasn't turned down anything because there's not been a real offer. So I still leave it open for speculation because I don't think Canelo's going to be in the ring until next May anyway. I just think that a lot of fight fans were kind of floating that around just as like a fun fight would be Andre Ward and Canelo. And I think it would be a fun fight, to be honest, but I don't know. This is what I know about Andre Ward is that when he tells us something, I believe he genuinely believes it when he says it. I believe that he genuinely said, hey, I don't want to fight right now. I don't want to fight Canelo. I genuinely believe that he is telling the truth and he is keeping his word. But let's give it 2-3 months, let it marinate a little bit, and then let Golden Boy get together and throw him an offer. Because like I said, there was no offer on the table. There was no money offer on the table from all of this. There's no official offer. So when there's an official offer to Andre Ward and says, hey, you want to fight Canelo for, you know, $15, $20, $30 million, then I think you're going to see Andre Ward come back and recalculate because I know this guy, he's every one of us, we're all human at the end of the day, And $30 million, $20 million, I've said this many, many times. I'm retiring at the end of this year, guys, but if somebody offers me that kind of stupid money, I would fight my mother for $30 million. And then we would laugh our way to the bank, but I would 100%. $30 million, $20 million, I mean, it's a lot of money, guys, and that's a lot of money. And I know that Andre's a family man. He takes care of his family. He loves his family. He's got kids that are getting up there in age now, and I don't know. I think one is either in college or getting ready to go to college, and he's got others coming up. So, money like that and could definitely secure his kids. So who knows? If that offer comes on the table, I would not be surprised if Andre Ward actually reconsidered and, they throw him a $20 million offer to fight Canelo. I would not be shocked if come January or February that they float that number and they float that offer around to Andre Ward. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes it. However, right now, Canelo Alvarez, you have so many options and people to fight. I genuinely don't think Golden Boy really wants to fight Andre Ward because, like John just said, I think Andre Ward could beat Canelo. I mean, I do. Even though he's been off, I still think Andre Ward could possibly beat Canelo. So I don't think that's a fight that Golden Boy is definitely going to search out and try their hardest to get because it's not really a good matchup for Canelo. Plus, we spent all the time talking about Logan Paul and those guys, but Billy Joe Saunders didn't look very good last night in his fight, but I got to give him credit. He closed the show, and he's known for being a really good boxer and all of that. Well, he caught his opponent last night, and then he went back in and closed that show. I was impressed. And he did look a little flat-footed. He looked a little just stale through the whole entire fight and didn't really look like him. But guess what? He closed that show, and he did what champions do. And whether he would look good or not, he knocked the guy out late in a fight, 10th, 11th round, the championship rounds. He put this undefeated guy away who he was probably down on the scorecards, or it was pretty dang close because I haven't seen the official scorecards yet, but that fight was dang close. And Billy Joe Saunders came away with a knockout victory. And we don't say that a lot about Billy Joe Saunders. He outboxes people. But the fact that he put this guy away, I think was impressive. And I think it warrants a Canelo Alvarez fight. So I would rather see Billy Joe Saunders fight Canelo because I think it'd be a really good fight. And if the right Billy Joe Saunders shows up, he's got a really legitimate chance at beating Canelo Alvarez. And I've said this from a long time ago, that his left-handed style and his speed and his counters and all of that would give Canelo a lot of trouble.
How good's Devin Haney?
I think Devin Haney's legit. I think he's the goods too. I liked what I saw last night. He didn't get a spectacular knockout, but Dennis, and everybody knows that you don't always knock out people on the elite level. You just don't. Knockouts don't happen that common at that type of level. At the top. And Devin Haney's a world champion. He's 20 years old and he's a world champion. So I think he's legit. I'm really, really following him. But can he beat like a Lomachenko type and all that? I don't know yet. I don't think he's there yet. But, again, is anybody there? Lomachenko's on another planet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lomachenko's just
and Haney's got some time.
Comparison.
He's only 20.
Yeah, he's got time. So we'll see. I don't know. But is he talented? Yes. Is he the next Floyd Mayweather? I've heard that so much. I also heard Adrian Broner was supposed to be the next Floyd Mayweather, too. So I hate that when they do that comparison. I don't like it. Just leave it alone. Let this guy be who he is. But he's got fast hands. He's got the big smile. He's got a lot of character, and I like watching him. So I'm going to keep following him for sure.
Yummy.
I found this interesting last week. On Thursday, Steven Espinoza, the guy in charge of putting boxing on the Showtime network, complained that there's too much boxing available on TV and the internet right now. John, is he right? Could saturation hurt this sport?
When I read that, I chuckled. I see now.
Okay.
I took it different. I thought it sounded like sour grapes to me. I don't think that's right at all. I think you've got the DAZN. I think you've got ESPN Plus, and you've got occasional fights on Premier Boxing Channel. That's it. I don't think that comment. I chuckled and shook my head like, what? I think he misses it. I think he wants it on Showtime. Look, when was the last time we saw anything on Showtime? We did a little bit ago, but they're not. They're almost like they're not even talked about anymore. It's not.
It was July.
July. Okay, it has been a while. They're just not there, and it looks like they might be going bye-bye. So I don't. Again, Travis can help me out on this too and give his opinion. If he doesn't agree, that's fine. But I just don't see that. I don't understand that comment. There's not too much boxing on television. No way. So why make a comment like that? I just took it as I try to figure out when people make comments that I don't agree with and I find ridiculous. I think is he bitter because Showtime's possibly not going to be doing any more boxing? Makes no sense. Is he jealous because there's DAZN and ESPN Plus, and you get those for a little bit cheaper, and we get some damn good fights on those, and he wishes that Showtime had done the same thing? I don't know. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. I'm just going to ask you, Travis, what did you think about that comment by Espinoza?
Hey, Travis, let me set you up first with what Showtime did last year. He also admitted that he isn't exactly thrilled with the kind of fights Showtime showed us in 2019, and he promised to do better in 2020. But they really did bore us. Gervonta Davis scored a first-round knockout in February over a late replacement for Abner Mares, Hugo Ruiz, in that fight. That was the first fight of the year. In March, they showed us a competitive split draw, but it was between Brian Castano and Irislandi Lara. That's never going to attract a big audience. In April, Robert Easter just bored us to death against Rancis Bartolome. They fought 12 really dull rounds. In May, we saw Wilder, which is always exciting, but he fought Dominic Breazeale, and that was a mismatch. First-round knockout. Then we watched Jermell Charlo and Gervonta Davis fight mismatches in back-to-back shows in June and July. And there hasn't been a Showtime championship broadcast since. On December 7th, after 4 months of darkness, they're going to show us Jermall Charlo against Dennis Hogan, who's an Irish guy with 2 losses. And on December 28th, Gervonta is going to take on Yorkas Gamboa, who's on the backside of his career. To me, that's an unforgivably crappy year for some place like Showtime. Espinoza really does owe boxing fans an apology for all that. That's my take. Okay, I'm going to get out of your way now.
No, you know what? Guys, I'm going to agree with both of you. I think that it was sour grapes. Because here's the deal. You can't have too much of a product, that's for sure. That can happen. You can oversaturate things and it'll be bad for sure. But let's think about it. I mean, you have MLB. MLB plays 3 to 4 times a week. The NFL is on 3 to 4 times a week as well. And they attract fans because they're consistent and there's constantly games. So like for boxing, we don't have that. We don't have boxing every single week. We don't. There's lulls in between ESPN streams, in between Showtime, in between DAZN. So right now, no, I don't think there's too much. So 100%, I believe it was sour grapes. And you know what's going on is in the upper echelon of Showtime right now, they're looking down and they're like, hey, is boxing, profitable for us anymore? Because HBO just got out of the game because they said it wasn't a good fit for them. So I think it was sour grapes, and I think that Espinoza is getting a lot of pressure from the people above him because I think that John, he might be onto something that maybe Showtime's on their way out because, honestly, those fights that you mentioned, there's talent there, but those were not good matched fights. And we're seeing great matched fights on DAZN, on ESPN Plus, and all across the board. We're seeing those, and Showtime has not delivered a blockbuster type of fight in a really long time. So it was 100% sour grapes. I don't get that guy sometimes. Sometimes I agree with what he says, and sometimes I don't. And more as of late, I haven't agreed with what Espinoza's been saying, And I think that he's on a sinking ship right now, and Showtime needs to make a massive change. I do believe they can, though, because they do have talent over there. So I do believe Showtime can make a change, but it's will they? Will they adapt with modern time? And modern time now is saying that these online streaming things are where it's at. ESPN Plus made the jump. DAZN made the jump to America, and they're doing it all over. It's an app. That's what it is now. You have to download this app on your TV, on your phone. You can stream anywhere. ESPN Plus is the same way. So Showtime needs to get with the game and figure that out. And it's just not the platform they're doing. That's the thing. It's not just the platform. You made a perfect point. It's the matches. Showtime hasn't put on competitive matches. That's it. Your product is not good. You have a platform. Showtime still has a platform. I still watch Showtime. I still would watch Showtime Boxing. They have the platform. They have the eyes. They just have not been delivering. The product has not been there. And you cannot have stale fights for a whole year and expect the higher-ups at Showtime to keep boxing around, because it's a business. Showtime is a business. If they're not making money, if they're not getting viewers, they're going to stop doing it. And boxing fans want the best fights. Boxing fans are super critical of boxers who are constantly fighting mismatches. And that's what Gervonta Davis has been doing. Did you guys see it? Tim Bradley on the ESPN Plus stream, he was calling out Gervonta Davis, said that he fights Uber drivers. He goes, who's this guy ever fought? He's fighting Uber drivers. And kind of Andre Ward and all those guys kind of laughed about it, but he's not right, but he's not completely wrong. Like, Gervonta Davis needs to step up who he's fighting, and all of these guys do. Charlo as well. And maybe they want to. Maybe they want to step up, guys. Maybe Showtime's just not choosing to put them in there with equal competition, but they better hurry up, because that's definitely, that ship is going to sail, and who knows, maybe it has already sailed and they can't get those people back, but we'll see. I think it's good for boxing, though, because I think Showtime has to be competitive. So now they're going to really, really have to really do some good matchmaking and bring those viewers back.
They better. The very last thing I want to mention, that we probably need to mention, a really popular Australian fighter, Dwight Ritchie, died Friday. He collapsed in the ring after suffering a body shot while he was sparring with Michael Zarafa. Ritchie was only 27 years old. Just one more reminder of what guys like Travis Hartman put on the line every single day, not just when you see him on TV, but in the gym too. Man, that was a shocker. So either one of you guys want to comment on that, feel free. Yeah. Otherwise,
I'll just say
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say I just feel terrible about it, and that's why boxers deserve all the respect that they should get, and condolences, obviously, but it's just a dangerous sport. And Travis, we love you here, and we love anybody that does that. Obviously, puts it on the line like that, and it's just a reminder again how dangerous boxing is and how things can happen. I'm not blaming the sport for that. I mean, I don't really know what happened. There might have been something wrong with Dwight Ritchie that could have happened at any point, but it just shows how dangerous boxing is and how gutsy you have to be to even engage in it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's definitely a rough sport, and that's probably what's going to make my decision even that much easier, guys, to hold my word, so that I was going to retire at the end of this year. It's just things like that, knock on wood every day. I've been boxing since I was 6 years old, competitively boxing since I was 6 years old. I'm 36 now, and knock on wood, I've never had anything major happen. And, rest in peace to Richie, because that's a tragic loss. I mean, especially in the gym with the body shot. So, we don't know exactly, what's going to come of this, but definitely rest in peace. And boxing's a brutal sport. I mean, it's like they say, you can play basketball, you can play football, but you don't play boxing. You box. It's dangerous, and that's just the way it is.
Most dangerous thing I do every day is play ball with my dog, Dodo. She's got sharp little teeth. So that's Travis Hartman and John J. Raspanti. Rizwan Zahid. Happy birthday, Riz, by the way. His birthday was yesterday. And,
happy birthday, Riz.
Yeah.
Happy
too
birthday,
bad he
Riz.
couldn't be with us today. These guys are the official oracles of the Ringside Boxing Show. You're amazing every week. Thanks, fellas.
Thanks. All right. Take care, guys.
All right. Paul McLaughlin is up next to catch us up on the news in the UK. Then we're going to be talking to our featured guest. This guy's a former world heavyweight champion who was born in England and raised in Queens. Know who he is yet? He was one of the most decorated amateur boxers in American history. And when he was just a 21-year-old amateur, get this, he appeared on Saturday Night Live with Howard Cosell and Billy Crystal when the cast of SNL included John Lovitz, Dennis Miller, Robert Downey Jr., Randy Quaid, Damon Wayans, Anthony Michael Hall, and Al Franken. We're going to ask him if he got invited to the after party. You also saw him in films like Girl Fight, $1 Million Baby, Public Enemies, opposite Johnny Depp and the TV series Sons of Anarchy. Who is it, Ringside Nation? You're going to find out in about 5.5 minutes, so stick with us. We will be right back.
This is tremendous, Don, just tremendous. The atmosphere heavy, uncertain, overtones of ugliness. A reminder in a way of how it was in March of 1964 at Miami Beach, when Clay met Liston for the first time and nobody was certain how it would turn out. The crowd is tense. They've been here since 10 this morning.
Oh, boy, is this great!
You're listening to the Ringside Boxing Show, the hottest, sweatiest show on West Coast Radio.
Hi there, it's Paul McLaughlin with your weekly roundup of everything going on in the UK boxing scene at the moment. Well, Billy Joe Saunders knocked out gritty Marcelo Canceres to successfully defend his WBO super middleweight title last night on the undercard of a nonsense YouTube fight. That's only my opinion, Anyway, Saunders dropped Canceres 3 times in the 11th round to force a stoppage in a tough American debut at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. After a grueling 10 rounds that could have gone either way, Saunders put his foot on the gas and sent Canceres to the canvas in the penultimate round with a heavy hook, floored him for a second time with a superb uppercut, and after dropping him for a third and final time, the referee waved off the fight. So, what were his thoughts about his performance?
I'm not the one to make excuses. I came over here 5 days out, 9 hours of difference. I haven't slept right for 5 days. Bit of a cough, chest infection. You know, I can go on and on and on, but I'm a straight, honest man. Tonight, that wasn't a world-class performance. It was a world-class finish, but not a world-class performance. But that just shows you what sort of fighter I am. No matter if I'm down or not, I'm not known as a puncher, but if I have to finish it, I will. I have to just, you know, look at my performance, you know, look where I went wrong, look at a few bits and bobs. But look, the way it is I was down. Some fighters there would have went for it, but I knew I had to push the button and stop him. I knew that. In round 9, I thought, right, Billy Joe, you have to stop this man, because there were no jab working, there were no backhand, there were no fleet-footed. I was trying to get my feet working. It was just like I was dipped in glue. I did the weight good, everything went well. But it's just something missing tonight. Maybe it's the trouble, I don't know, but...
Will this lacklustre performance have any bearings on future fights for Billy Joe?
Canelo might look at that and say, look, you know, now's the time to get him. We're getting him now. He didn't look too good. But look, the thing that you cannot forget about here, and I'm kicking myself a little bit, I knocked him out when I knew I had to knock him out. You know, I was coming down, I was here and he's close. You're 1 up, you're 2 down, you're level. So it was all going on, but I thought, right, Billy Joe, you have to stop him. And I stopped him. So look, it is what it is. But Canelo Alvarez is the one I want next, and I'll put that performance right, 100%.
His promoter, Eddie Hearn, leapt to Billy Joe's defence.
He won't make excuses, but I have to tell you, we got his visa on Friday at about 4:45 approved, and he had to pick it up on Saturday, and he left on Sunday. So he's been jet-lagged the whole week, he's been ill all week, but he knows they weren't the best performance. I knew he was going to be flat tonight, because I knew how he was feeling, I knew he weren't sleeping, and I have to be honest, I felt like it was all square or he was 1 behind, and when he knocked him out, I was up going absolutely posse, because you've got a situation there where you've got the Canelo fight, the Jacobs fight, the Callum Smith fight, and all of a sudden, you're in a position where it could all be over. You know, so I thought it was a brilliant finish after a poor performance, and my God, am I happy that he managed to get over the line. I've been nervous all week for him, because I know the preparation's been poor. You had Darren Till last week, I think, getting out to New York on the Thursday before his fight. It's been a big backlog in the visa applications. He got here on Sunday night, and I'm just one of them when I saw that ref wave it off, because these are the big fights that are coming. I believe he'll get Canelo next, and if he doesn't, you know, I want him to fight Callum Smith at Anfield.
And on the back of Eddie Hearn's words there, Callum Smith would relish a massive fight with Billy Joe Saunders or Triple G as he works towards a homecoming world title clash at Anfield, the home of Liverpool Football Club, the greatest football team around, I might add. Anyway, talks have already been held about staging a fight at Liverpool's 54,000-seater stadium next summer, although Smith must firstly face John Ryder at the Echo Arena on the 23rd of November. However, Smith is not underestimating Ryder one bit.
Yeah, no, listen, I prepared well. We always do. I respect every opponent, and being a world champion now, I've got to expect the best version of everyone who I fight now. It's their big opportunity, it's their chance to change their lives and achieve their dream, and I've been in that position, and I know what mindset I had going into the world title fight. So I'm expecting the best version of him, but I believe in my own ability, and the best version of me beats anyone in the world. I've worked so hard to be a world champion, and they'll just talk a potential Anfield fight and Canelo, Golovkin and all the big fights, and they all disappear if I slip up in this fight. So this fight I must win more than ever, and I plan on keeping my world title and moving on into 2020 and having a big year.
And finally, two-time Olympic champion Nicola Adams has revealed she suffered a torn pupil in her last fight, which led to fears for her sight. The 37-year-old, who announced her retirement on Wednesday, told us that initially she thought it was just a minor injury. However, it became more complicated. So this has led to her retirement. The Briton, who became the first female Olympic boxing champion at London 2012, is now moving on to a career in training and potentially television. We wish her all the best. Right, that's your lot from me. I'll be back next week with some more boxing news. In the meantime, gloves up and protect yourselves at all times. Back to the studio.
Hey, thank you, Paul McLaughlin. I hope the sun is shining for you over there in England the way it is for us here in California, but I bet it's not.
I'm Dennis Taylor, co-author of the Amazon bestseller Intimate Warfare, the true story of the Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward boxing trilogy. You know, writing this book was a labor of love for John J. Raspanti and myself. We enjoyed every minute of the process and considered it a privilege to tell the tale of one of the most electrifying boxing trilogies in the history of this sport. Intimate Warfare traces the collision course of Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward from their earliest days through their 3 epic fights, as well as the aftermath of this great rivalry, which culminated in one of the greatest friendships in boxing. Intimate Warfare has received a 4.5-star rating from readers and was endorsed by Hall of Famers Harold Letterman and Joe Cortez and 2-time Trainer of the Year Virgil Hunter. Our foreword was written by Ray Boom Boom Mancini, another one of the greatest blood and guts fighters of our time. Get your copy today at Amazon.com.
Hi, this is Christy Martin, and I listen to the Ringside Boxing Show.
Hi, I'm John H. Tracy, former welterweight champion of the world, and I'm listening to the Ringside Boxing Show.
Hey guys, this is Michael Bent, the former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, and welcome to the Ringside Boxing Show. Voila.
Oh, Tommy stunned by right hand, and down goes Morrison. He has been plagued by a weak chin. 4, 5, 6.
Morrison is embarrassed more than anything in the world.
That'll quiet the crowd a little bit. And Bent again lands the right. Now we saw Morrison go down twice in the same round against Carl the Truth Williams.
1 more knockdown and this is over, and Michael Bent knows it.
3 knockdown rule in effect. Michael Bent on the verge of a big moment, and he's got it. That's it. A first-round KO for Michael Bent. And there goes Tommy Morrison's $8 million payday.
A lot of very unhappy people at ringside, as well as in this arena. It's sort of the feeling that I felt in Tokyo when Mike Tyson was supposed to fight Evander Holyfield next, and he lost to Buster Douglas.
Hey, welcome back to the Ringside Boxing Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. I'm Dennis Taylor, and today's featured guest is a former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, as well as perhaps the most successful amateur fighter in U.S. history not to make the Olympic team. Michael Bent lost in the finals of the '88 Olympic trials and box office to Ray Mercer, who went on to win the Olympic gold medal in Seoul, South Korea. He then lost his first fight as a pro. We're going to talk to him about this. In February of 1988, then won his next 10 in a row, and then fought Tommy the Duke Morrison. That's the clip you just heard for the WBO Heavyweight Championship. Knocked him out in 93 seconds. He fought just once more, losing to Herbie Hyde in London, and suffered injuries in that fight that made it inadvisable for him to continue his career. So he retired with an 11-2 record. But it wasn't the last time we were going to see him in a boxing ring, because Michael Bent was cast to play Sonny Liston opposite Will Smith in the 2001 feature film Ali, and that's just a little part of his story. Michael, great to have you on the Ringside Boxing Show, my friend. Thank you so much for making some time for us today. How's life, man?
It's my pleasure, Dennis, man. Life is well, bro. Like, life is well, man. I'm just like here, like, enjoying the moments, the good and the bad.
Good for you. Well, hey, so you had the sensational amateur career and won the world title belt in your 12th pro fight, and then 5 months later, it all came to an end with that loss to Herbie Hyde. Let me ask you first about your pro debut, though. Who the hell is Jerry Jones, and how did one of the greatest amateur boxers in the history of our nation end up losing to him? What happened?
I talk about that, man. Your job. No, let's talk about that. Okay. You know where I got that line from? When I talk about that, I was watching David Letterman like years ago, and Howard Cosell was a guest with Billy Crystal, and Howard Cosell was busting Billy. Howard Cosell was like busting Billy Crystal's balls, man. Like, and he kept like, asking Howard Cosell, like, why talk about that? Anyway, cut to like my fight with Jerry Jones, man. As you probably know, I was signed by coming from the amateurs. I was signed by the great Emmanuel Stewart. He was my trainer and manager. And long story short, if I like give a kid, $75,000 to turn pro, which was what my signing bonus was then. Although I should mention that because the boys are coming after me. But if I give a kid $75,000, I'm going to do my homework. Now I'm not saying that it was Emmanuel's fault. I took the shots. I got to take responsibility for taking a shot. But I had no idea this guy Jerry Jones was a southpaw. And
really,
on top of that, I had no idea he was that good. Jerry Jones was he was a spoiler. He went on to beat he went on to give Ray Mercer a very competitive fight, and he went on to beat Carl Williams. So he wasn't a bum. You know what I'm saying? And my thing was, God damn, be you put me with this killer. Anyway, cut to when I head back to Detroit, where I was living at the time, I was depressed, man. I was in the dumps, emotionally. And so I went back home for maybe a week or so, and I just never went back to Detroit. And but I never went to a boxing gym for 22 months after that because I was so intimidated and and afraid of being exposed.
Huh.
Yeah, no, it was terrifying. That 22-month period, I got a job at a hospital in New York. Well, actually, my girlfriend, who I was dating at the time, she got me a job at Long Island Jewish Hospital. And I was content, being on the central sterile staff of loading up the shelves, blah blah. I was content, But I had this nagging thing with dude, there's more than this for you. And okay, let me shut this off. And maybe 6 months after, 6 months and 9 months after being employed at this at this hospital, man, I got a phone call from a friend of mine, and he said, Mike, I have an opportunity for to get back in boxing. I'm like, well, what is it? Well, he said that you'll be the sparring partner. You'll be the chief sparring partner for the number 5 heavyweight contender in the world, Gary Mason. I'm like, my man, there's no way in the fucking world I'm doing that. I'm not doing that. I didn't tell him why, but I was afraid. And he kept calling me. He said and the final time he called me, he said look, man, this is for a really big British boxing promoter, Mickey Duff. And I I knew who Mickey was. And I was like, man, I don't want to do this, but okay, let me give it a shot. So I packed up my stuff and I moved to Florida, where the Mickey Duff's boxing camp was. At this really ritzy hotel in Clearwater. Forget the name of it. Anyway, so I'm sparring with Gary Mason, right? Number 5 heavyweight contender in the world. And guess what, Dennis? I'm doing
you
well.
dealt on him, yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, holy shit. So when me and Gary got to be good friends, man. And one day we're at breakfast. I'm like, Gary, let me ask you a question, bro. Are you taking it easy on me when we spar? And he starts laughing. I'm like, okay, he's not. Okay, I got something here. After that, I was employed as a chief sparring partner for Evander Holyfield when after Evander knocked out Buster Douglas, and I was like, I got the greatest compliment I'd ever been paid to as a fighter in my career. Georgie Benton saw me one day as I was walking back from a bookstore, and he said and he waves me over to him. He's at the bar. He waves me over to him. And Georgie says, you know what, man, goddamn, when you spar with Evander, I can't tell who the champion is. And
really? Huh. Wow.
Yeah. That's Georgie Benton. That's like God saying, check us out.
Yep.
You're special. And when he told me that, when he told me that, I brought that into the ring with me with when I fought Morrison, because I knew that I belonged, man. And as amateurs, Morrison was on the B team, on the C team. As an amateur, I was on the A team. So I knew that the pros and the amateurs, in my estimation, the elite level of an amateur is more challenging than the elite level as a pro, because you can pick and choose who you want to fight, who you can fight as an elite pro. You can't pick and choose who you're going to fight as an elite amateur. So I knew Tommy, he was talented, blah blah blah, but I knew he wasn't going to beat me, man. Well, no, I didn't know that. I hope that, I hope that the fact that I got dumped in my first fight, wouldn't derail me. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It does, and you know what? When I watched that video of your fight with Morrison, you looked really calm and confident before that opening bell. What was going on in your body right then? Were you nervous? Did you have a lot of faith?
Was I nervous, Dennis? Look, I'm in Tommy Morrison's backyard. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tommy's backyard,
right?
And
he's 38-1. Yeah,
exactly. The only person who he lost to was someone who beat me in my final amateur fight, Ray Mercer. The only guy that Tommy lost to was Ray. And you know what, man? Once again, not once again, but Evander Holyfield once said something which, is profound, man. He said that you make your reputation in the amateurs. And, Tommy, when we fought, he didn't have to fight me. Tommy had a secure deal to fight Lance Close for $7.5 million. And he wanted the tune-up. But, he didn't have to take a tune-up. He didn't have to take one, And, he lobbied he lobbied Jim Jacobs to arrange a fight with me and him, because I was the guy in the amateurs, and he wanted to wipe out that blah blah blah. If that makes sense.
It does, yeah. Yeah.
So you had easy, man, and Tommy lobbied for that fight. He didn't have to take that fight, with Michael Bent. But, he gave me a shot, and I appreciate it. But, I'm like, my man, there's no way in the fucking, well, pardon the F-bomb. There's no way in the world, that, I'm losing to you, B. It's not going to happen.
Huh.
I want to die. And oddly enough, funny enough, as life worked out, my next fight almost died. So what's the moral of the story? The moral is, be careful what you freaking wish for, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. In that fight, he got in a couple of really, really big punches almost right away, and he thought you were hurt, and he tried to finish you. And instead, you rocked him with a right hand, and he went down. And you decked him twice more in that first round to end the fight. What kind of moment was that for you, Michael, when you suddenly realized that you were the WBO heavyweight champion of the world?
You know what, Dennis? The moment itself, you know what? Are you a baseball fan at all?
Oh, yeah. I covered the Rockies from, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I'm a massive, Yankees fan, man. My favorite, all-time, player is Chris Chambliss from the Yankees '76.
Yeah.
Right. So I win this championship, right? And everyone's they're over the top enthusiastic, it's yeah, Mike, blah blah blah. But I'm not feeling anything. And I made the connection some years ago. The reason why, I didn't feel. I felt validation, but I felt validation because all I ever wanted to do as a professional was to accomplish something that my peers accomplished. Evander Holyfield was one of my peers as an amateur boxer. Mark Breland was a peer as an amateur boxer. Roy Jones was a peer. And I want to, accomplish what they accomplished, right? Because, I mean, I'm not really a big, rah-rah guy. I'm not really, big on, fans. Because, fans can be, people can be, temperamental, man. They love you 1 second, and they love you 1 second, and they respect you 1 second, and the next second they don't. But the Warriors, Roy Jones, Evander, Riddick Bowe, blah blah blah, those guys will love me forever, and I'll love them forever. Because because in that journey, only we know what transpired and how we had to dig and crawl for our stuff. You know what I mean? So in terms of that moment was it was a great moment for me personally and my peers. If that makes sense.
It does. But the other part of that is that someday when you pass away, your obit, the very first line is going to say that you were the WBO heavyweight champion of the world. Nobody can ever take that away from you, and that's got to be an amazing feeling.
I appreciate that, but once again, bro, I've always been in conflict with boxing because I was forced to do it. I didn't want to be a boxer. I wanted to be a baseball. I wanted to be a baseball player like Chris Chambliss, but I had talent as a boxer, and no boxer is going to ever be no boxer is going to ever achieve anything if they don't fight from demons. And I had my demons.
Yeah.
I had a horrible father. I mean, he was my father was a interesting cat, man. He was a guy who was he would walk into a room and he would charm the hell out of a room. He had that kind of level 10 charisma. But behind the bars, man, the demon came out. And I was the guy who had to I couldn't exercise his demons for him, so he used that, and I was his mascot, and I resented it, and I guess that's always followed me through my journey in boxing. I never liked for coaches or blah blah to overhype themselves or overhype me because I didn't trust it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yep.
But in saying that, in saying that I had this great level of distrust, that's what drove me, because when you get knocked out in your first, I went to this boxing heavyweight reunion, this boxing heavyweight champion reunion about 4 or 5 years ago in Florida. And I was talking to Mike Tyson, Riddick Bowe, and all these guys, man. I was like, check this out, man. If any one of you people, if any one of you heavyweight champions here now, Larry Holmes, Oliver McCall, Lennox Lewis, if any one of you guys had lost your first fight by a knockout, we don't hear anything. We don't hear about you ever again. So I said that in front of all those cats. And you know what? No one had any objection. I'm not saying they couldn't have overcame that, but I'm the only one who as a heavyweight champion lost his first fight by knockout. Now, if you do the scientific, math on that, to come back from those kind of that kind of darkness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are long odds.
I'm glad you're laughing. No, you get it. You get it.
I do.
I don't know if I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, no. I don't know if you caught me chuckling when you played the Morrison bench fight earlier, and George Foreman said Tommy's more embarrassed than anything. I chuckled. When George said that, because I'm like, George, no. Tommy isn't embarrassed, man. If you watch that fight, I watch that fight from time to time. I'll watch that fight, and honestly, bro, when I watched Tommy get up after the first knockdown, bro, they could have stopped it there. Mm-hmm. He's damaged, man. He's out of it, man. I felt I feel sorry for him. 25 years later, I feel sorry for him, man, because I know how it feels being in that spot. There's no way in the way, feeling. You look at Tommy's eyes when the camera pans in close to him after he gets up from the first knockdown. He knows that, holy shit, I can't survive this, man. And that's the same feeling I had as as an elite amateur boxer who turned pro, and I fought this guy named Jerry Jones. There's no way I'm gonna survive that, man. In that respect, Tommy and I are kindred spirits, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think George made that statement because Tommy beat George, right?
Tommy did beat George, yeah.
Yes, he did. Okay, so right. So do the math on that. I'm the guy George is a Olympic gold medalist, world champion, and Tommy outboxes him, and this guy who quote unquote is a flash in the pan amateur boxer, blah blah blah, completely annihilates the guy who outboxed him for 12 rounds. Okay, do the math on that. Right.
Yep.
I get it. I get it. This world, boxing is like that. The acting world is like that. People are very competitive, man, and I get it. I understand, but let's not run away and lie about it. He's shitting on me. Why? Because he lost to a guy, blah blah blah.
So, what was your life like for the next 5 months while you held that title belt? Did it change?
Did it change?
Yeah.
I mean, I always had I wouldn't say I was famous, blah blah blah, but always had this following of people who knew me from my exploits as an amateur boxer, winning the Golden Gloves 4 times in New York and being a 5-time national champion, blah blah blah. People put me up upon a pedestal, blah blah blah. But once again, I didn't trust it. But it was nice that people were nice to me. But the biggest thing, bro, honestly, the biggest. I probably shouldn't say this, man. But what the hell? Come on, Dennis. We're guys, right?
The women started crawling in through your window. That's what you're about to say.
I know, but at that time I was a member of the Nation of Islam, so I was a straight arrow, right?
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
But I wasn't perfect. But I met this woman, man, and she was the most gorgeous, physically gorgeous. And plugged in, intellectually. This was the smartest woman, I have ever dated. And eventually we were engaged, but of course, with engagements with boxers, never works out. So it didn't work. But we met and had a great time, man. But this woman was once again, she was stunning physically. Mm-hmm. And she had a mind sharp as Einstein, man. And she was fierce. She was pro-black and like, you know, I'm like, but she was like, you know, a really, really light-skinned black woman, and like, you know, it turned me on to like, you know, she was so like fervent about the black movement, like, holy shit. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Okay, maybe she's too interesting for me, Mike. You know, but she would like, you know, like intellectually, man, she would like run circles around me. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm glad you like
talking to Michael Vince on the Ringside Boxing Show from Monterey, California. Michael is the former WBO heavyweight champion of the world. Michael, how did the Herbie Hyde fight come about? This guy was 25-0 at the time. He's from England, which is where you were born. That's interesting to me. I'm wondering what it was like for you to go to England to fight that guy.
Why talk about that, man?
Well,
it's
part of your story, big part of it.
No, it is. Okay, so that fight came about when I beat Tommy. We got a invitation to do a coming back to England tour. So we went back. Me and my manager Stan Hoffman. We went back to England, and I think Stan was approached by this promoter, something Astaire. I forget his first name. Anyway, he owned a soccer team, blah blah blah, and he approached Stan about the potentiality of Herbie Hyde and I fighting. I had never heard of Herbie Hyde, and on that press tour, on that press junket back to England, I was invited to a British awards show where they would have these yearly awards for athletes, blah blah blah. And I think Lennox Lewis was one of the contestants, and I spoke to Lennox over the air because he was in the U.S. training. So we spoke to Lewis Lennox over the air, and then I met this kid. This kid comes up to me and says "Hey Michael, I'm Michael. Michael, I'm Herbie Hyde." And I noticed something about him. I noticed he was nervous. And I noticed he had a stutter. Whoa. So I said, "My man, check this out. How you doing, brother?" I'm I'm Michael Ben, blah blah blah. I said, "Yeah, Michael, I know who you are. I'm Herbie Hyde." I'm I didn't know who Herbie Hyde was. And so we exchanged no, we didn't exchange number. We exchanged pleasantries, right? Pleasantries and whatnot. And
yeah.
And I said, "Hey, brother, check us out, man. I noticed when you approached me, you stutter. There's nothing to be ashamed of, bro. Accept it." And and I went on about my business. Cut to maybe a month or so later, I find out that I'm fighting the same guy who gave who I met at this sports show. So we fly over to England again, and there's a press conference for the show for the boxing match. And of course, if you're a boxing guy, you should you probably know about the melee that involved Herbie Hyde and I. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. Go ahead though. Tell us.
It wasn't my fault. Herbie started it. It wasn't my fault. I'm about to get challenged. But no. That was So we're at this press conference, and during the press conference, this nice guy who I met maybe 2 or 3 months before, he's giving me mad shade. I'm like, what? Okay, so that's part of the thing, the performance, right? So I was cool. At least I thought I was cool. So the photographers asked us to go outside and pose back to back on the roof of this ritzy hotel. I'm like, great. So we're posing, and one of the photographers gives me a soccer hat to wear, the hat of some soccer team. It was Millwall, because we fought in the Millwall soccer stadium, and we're back to back, and all of a sudden my hat flies off. I'm like, holy shit. Well, like, I mean, I didn't feel a wind, right? And then I turn around and I see like these reporters, like, and photographers, like, laughing. I'm like, no. And I look at Herbie, and he has a smirk on his face. And, my first thought was, I know this mother, blah, 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 didn't, like, smack my head off my head. I know that. And he smirks again. And, man, look at me. I have never responded like this in any of my, like, in any instant of my boxing career, amateur or pro. I have never responded like this, ever. I smacked him. I smacked Herbie. And like, he gives me a look. And I smack him again. And then, like, he tackles me. And then, like, once again, like, I have the brothers from, like, from the FOY, England, blah, blah, blah. And let me tell you something, man. Those brothers, like, from the FOY, they backed off. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, I need you back. But, like, look, man. Like, but, like, it's not in their job descriptions to, like, help, like, a raging boxer, like, help, like, that's not their, like, that's not their responsibility, man. It's like, if I'm part of that, like, that group as well, I step away as well, man. I don't want no part of that nonsense. You handle it, brother.
Yeah.
So Herbie and I, so we tussled on the ground, blah, blah, blah. And we got up, man, and, like, I bought a brand new suit, like, a week before my suit was torn. I was pissed off. That was a great suit. And, so fast forward to the fight, nothing I did worked on Herbie Hyde, and Herbie dismantled me. Herbie took me out of my game. Herbie, like, Riddick Bowe said, like, I'm really good friends with Riddick Bowe. And we speak like, every other month, blah, blah, blah. And he said to me, like, from time to time, we'll talk about, like, old fighters and blah, 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 blah. And he said to me, like, Michael, the hardest guy I've ever been hit by was Herbie Hyde. I'm like, okay, great. Yeah, don't I know it? Yeah. So like, Herbie had this unbelievable punching power, like, and he wasn't a big man. He was like, a smaller, like, framed man than Evander. But like, how and where he generated his punching power from, I have no friggin' idea. I know one thing, though. That's the kind of punching power I would never, ever want to experience again. Because
people forget that about Herbie Hyde. He was 49-4 when he ended his career. 43 of those were knockouts. Yeah.
There we go then. Right, yeah. But like, if I'm managing Michael Bent after post, like, Tommy Morrison, I think that Michael Bent survives Herbie Hyde as well. I take that fight too. But like, you never know in this damn thing, man. Like, who would have thought that, like, Andy Ruiz would have beaten Anthony Joshua? I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't. Those in the know would have. But, like, the outside, I mean, yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
What do you remember about the aftermath of that fight going to the hospital?
What I remember, what I'm told, by my brother and, like, people who were in my quote unquote entourage, because I was a big shot, because, like, big shots have entourages. Are you aware that does?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I got a big entourage. Yeah.
There we go. But I was, my entourage members relayed to me, like, months after the affair that I collapsed, went back to the dressing room and collapsed in the dressing room and was in a 96-hour coma, man, which was induced because apparently my brain was swelling, and there's a doctor, Dr. John Sutcliffe, who also worked on Gerald McClellan. In his good wisdom, like, you know, he thought that it would be best to, like, you know, induce a coma so the coma would subside, and also because, like, you know, because the swelling would subside, and if the swelling had not, like, you know, gone down, they would have, like, you know, did brain surgery on me. So, like, thankfully, you know, the swelling subsided, and I turned out to be, like, you know, normal, back to normal. Wink, wink.
How difficult was it for you to hear a doctor tell you that you'd be risking your life if you ever fought again?
You know what? Honestly, you know, I could get on some, like, you know, on some more macho nonsense, but it's like, you know, well, yeah, like, you know, like, it broke my heart, blah blah blah. But I was relieved, man. It was you know, absolutely. It was like, you know, it was okay. So I don't have to prove anything to anyone anymore in that platform, because, like, you know, dude, like, you know, there's nothing scarier, or how I haven't done many things much more scarier than like, you know, stepping into the ring in front of people naked. There's nothing, to me, I haven't done many things, you know, scarier than that. You know, like, you know, I dived off the Eiffel Tower in 2007, but, like, you know, I have, like, you know, I had a parachute, you know what I'm
saying? You did? Wow.
I did.
Oh my God.
I didn't do that, Dennis. Come on, bro. I never did that. I'm lying to you, Sam. The Eiffel Tower, man, I would pee my pants, bro. No. But no, but you know, it's you never know, man. Like, I'm just happy that I'm here, and, like, you know, well, you know, that sounds cliche, like, you know, that sounds like cliche bullshit, but, like, you know, I'm happy I'm here, but, like, you know, if I went into the only reason that I survived is I'm here, I think, is because, you know, I mean, you gotta overcome, like, you know, these damn demons, man. That, like, because, like, you know, even if you're retired, you know, boxers fight to exercise their demons, right? And when you retire, like, those demons, like, you know, aren't going any place. So you have to make friends with them or make a deal with them. If not, you know, you end up, like, you know, damaged. And I'm not saying, like, you know, that I'm not damaged, but, like, you know, I'm more damaged because, like, you know, I acknowledge my demons, because, like, you know, I'm not afraid to acknowledge my demons and accept them, if that makes sense.
Well, you did something after your career that a lot of people probably don't know. You ended up going to college, Northampton College in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. You studied journalism and acting, and you played the title role in Othello in the college's 2003 production. What was how does that compare, like, opening night of Othello, when you're trying to remember all your friggin' lines and all that? How does that compare to the ring walk when you're going out to face some guy who's 38-1?
You know what? Intellectually, emotionally, sexually, and every other kind of way, like, it's the same thing. Just like, you know, it's the same thing, only, like, you know, you're using the same instrument that you're digging into, only a different part of the muscle. You know, because, like, interestingly enough, when I walked out on the stage for the first time, I wasn't nervous. You know, I was intense because, like, you know, the thing about acting, like, you know, the thing about acting, man, is that you're able to, like, you know, to give your fears or your vulnerability to your characters. You know what I mean? And, like, you know, those are things that you learn through great acting people. And my first, acting coach was a guy named Professor Norman Roberts. And this guy was pardon the F-bomb, champ. This guy was a genius, man. And but he's the first person to give me access to the power of our negative or positive or self-deprecating thoughts. We can use that stuff. And when I understood that, I'm like, oh shit, okay, great. So I wasn't nervous when I was doing when I walked onto the stage as a fellow, man. I was intense, because I would ask my the director of the play every morning, and the director was Professor Norman Roberts. I would say, Professor, could you pick me up at 4:35 in the morning and let me go running in the woods in Pennsylvania, 3 or 4 miles. And I don't know if you've ever been up in the woods in Pennsylvania at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning.
It's dark, isn't it?
You think? Yeah. Well, that's the same kind of environment, that this guy Othello had to experience. That's the same kind of environment, that boxers have to search when they're in training camp.
Yeah.
The same kind of environment. So I'm lucky enough to have those experiences, I'm lucky enough to have those experiences and those mentors who are able to, give me that key so I can open that door up. Because, without those guys, I don't know how to get there.
Yeah, you wrote for the college newspaper too. You wrote about Tupac, his murder.
Damn.
And you wrote about Holyfield Tyson in '96. How close did you come to becoming a newspaper guy? Was that ever a consideration?
I don't think. I think I wrote just to get stuff out. I don't know if I ever wrote to get any acclaim as a journalist. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's nice, but I think that if I have my druthers, I think my writing, if my writing were to end up any place, it would be as a playwright or a screenwriter.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If I have my druthers, but I don't, so I take what I get.
All right, so here's something that I guarantee very few people know about you, but I looked it up on the internet. Way back in 1985, when you were just 21 years old, you got to be on Saturday Night Live on a night when Howard Cosell was the guest host. That was a cast. I looked this up too. That was a cast that in 85, 86 included Dennis Miller, Robert Downey Jr., Randy Quaid, John Lovitz, Nora Dunn, Damon Wayans, Anthony Michael Hall, and Al Franken. You got a story for us about that experience?
Yes, I do. It was just I got this gig because I was good friends with Bruce Silverglade. Bruce Silverglade ran and runs Gleason's Gym in New York, right? So one day, I was training the Gleason's Gym. So one day, Bruce says to me, "Hey, Michael, there's an NBC casting director looking for some talent to be as background actors, blah blah blah." And this thing with Howard Cosell and Billy Crystal. I was like, "Great, if you could submit my name, great." So I got the gig, and I knew Howard Cosell, from the amateur boxing world, because he would do ABC boxing for the amateur boxing team. And let me tell you something, dude. The guy was, man, it's amazing, dude. That some of these characters who we run into, man, they have one persona, but when you get them off when you're personally upfront with them, man, they are completely raw and beautiful.
Huh.
So Howard, he was very condescending, but in a really sweet way, if that makes sense.
Okay. I'm not sure it does, but okay.
I mean, like, he would say something, and then, like, he'll have this twinkle in his eye, like, like, he didn't mean it, but, like, he meant it. So I'm like, holy shit. So, but, like, so we're doing this scene, and the scene is, well, this skit involves Billy Crystal, and Billy, like, is interviewing, he's a trainer of Harold Cosell, and Billy Crystal is this like, old-time boxing guy. I think he's like 75 years old, and he's trying to make a comeback. And I'm one of the sparring partners. I get cut out, though, I think. Well, you can see my legs in the damn skit. Like, what's really sweet about this thing is, like, I got a chance, like, to actually talk to Billy Crystal, man. And, what we spoke about?
What did you talk about?
We spoke about, like, the whole, like, black and white thing in America.
Huh.
And where, like, where that conversation came from, I have no idea. I don't recall if I bring it up or if he bring it up. But, like, we had this, like, it's like 3-minute conversation about race, man. Like, God damn, Billy Crystal is talking to me about race. Holy shit.
Huh.
But, like, and, like, interestingly enough, I was good friends with, I am good friends with Billy Crystal's manager's daughter, who, like, his manager was a guy named, oh, man, I should know this. Wow. Allie Moore is his daughter. Oh, man, I forget his name, but Billy Crystal had this, like, really, really powerful manager in LA who passed away a couple of years ago. This guy was like, this guy was a heavyweight manager who's dead now. But why talk about that?
Did you get to go to the after party?
Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
No, of course not. No.
Okay. All right.
No.
I didn't know if the peripheral guys got to party with the stars or not. Did that whet your appetite for what came later, as far as acting on television and motion pictures?
Possibly, man. I think, like, that may have provided some kind of, like, spark, but I always, like, had a thing for, like, film and, like, screenwriters, blah blah blah. One of the first books I ever read was, like, William Goldman's 4 screenplays. You familiar with William Goldman?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, like, so I read, like, his this thing, like, he wrote like 79. I read that, like, like 1985 as a member of the USA boxing team. So I was always, like, into, like, the arts, man. And maybe, like, subconsciously, like, that was my path I wanted to get into.
You let's fast forward to 16 years later. No, it wasn't 16 years later. 16 years later, you got to play Sonny Liston in Michael Mann's film Ali, and you were also Will Smith's sparring partner to get him ready to play Ali.
Yeah.
How did all that happen for you?
Oh boy. Okay, that's a combination of the universe, bro. Okay, so I'm walking down the street one day.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I bump into a Howard Bingham's son. Howard Bingham's what was Howard Bingham's son's name? He passed away a couple of years ago. Damon Bingham. So I run to Damon. I'm going to the Port Authority in New York to catch a bus to do, like, I was writing for Bert Sugar's magazine, Bert Sugar's Fight Game. He hired me. So he said, Mike, go down to AC, Atlantic City, and cover the fight. I think it was the Rahman fight versus somebody in Atlantic City. So I went down there. So I'm en route there, and I bump into Howard Bingham's son, Damon. And Damon says, hey, you're Michael Bentman. I'm like, yeah, man, what's going on? And he says, well, my father's mom not only is a photographer. I'm like, Damon Bingham? I'm like, Howard Bingham? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, man. He said, like, we're in talks to do a film about Muhammad Ali. And I want to be involved. Like, my man, check this out. Any way that I can be involved, I'm down with it. So, 6 months go by, a year go by. I write this piece called Anatomy of a Knockout for Burt Sugar's Fight Game. And that piece got some, nice coverage and some, headway from a lot of people, man. And one of the folks who called me was Ron Shelton. Ron Shelton read the piece Anatomy of a Knockout. He said, Mike, look, if you can act like you write, if you're ever in L.A., I'll get you, an audition for this Ali thing that's coming up. So Ron, plugged me in and to the casting director, Vicky Thomas, and I read for the piece and then went back to New York. Got a phone call maybe a day or so later saying, hey, Michael, we'd like you to come back to L.A. And meet with the director. And I'm like, well, who's the director? Michael Mann. Now, I've been a Michael Mann fan since I was 15 years old. When he, you ever see Thief with Jimmy Kahn?
Yeah.
Right. So I was I'm like a Michael Mann head at 15 years old. And I'm having a meeting with this guy, but I was flat broke. And I went to one of my guys. I was going to sell him some boxing gloves that was signed by Evander Holyfield and all these other guys, blah, blah, blah. And I go down to his guy was a construction worker. Well, he owned a construction firm. And my guy was like, Mike, how much do you want for these gloves? I'm like, you know what, just give me what you want, man. He says, no. Take the money. He gave me $500.
Wow.
No, he gave me $700. And he said, go out to L.A. and break a leg, bro. So I think he was an actor as well, a former actor. And he said, I don't want the gloves. Go out to L.A. and do your thing, man. And that's so that they got me to L.A. I met Michael Mann, and while I was in his office, we hear a voice, and I recognize it as Will Smith. So Michael says to me, you know what, Mike? Let's go outside and meet Will, right? And when Will sees me, I'm dressed I made sure before I got to L.A., I got a haircut like Sonny Liston. I trimmed my mustache like Sonny Liston, so I wanted Michael Mann to see Liston, not Michael Bent. So when we hear Will Smith and Michael says let's go outside and meet Will Smith sees me as Sonny Liston, man, and he starts going off his cash escape, blah blah blah, and I grab his hand aggressively. And Michael Mann turns to the casting director, Vicky Thomas, and says, take down Ving Rhames' picture and put Michael Benn's picture up there. You got the role. Holy shit.
Wow. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Man, that must have been huge for you.
Oh, dude. No, you can't write that kind of stuff, man. That's how it happened.
How'd you get yourself ready to play Sonny Liston? I mean, you were 6 years old when he passed away. How'd you get ready?
You know what? That's a great question, Dennis. I took the role. They had Ving Rhames as the guy to play Sonny Liston initially, right? And so I would when I got to L.A., and I initially got the role, I ran into Ving Rhames at a boxing gym, and he said, "Yo, Ben, check us out, man. I heard you got the role, blah blah blah. Congratulations, but do yourself a favor. When you have time off in training camp or in shooting, take the 4-hour ride down to Las Vegas and visit Sonny Liston and just share with him, man. How much you appreciated him, man, and make sure that you tell him that you want to welcome his spirit into your world because you need him for this thing." And I would do that. I think I visited I visited the grave of Sonny Liston in Las Vegas maybe 8 or 9 times. And
wow.
and Ving Rhames gave me that. He gave that to me, But when you asked about how I was able to access that guy, If you know the history of Sonny Liston, like, you know, he came up in a very abusive household, much like mine.
Yep.
You know, so there were things like, you know, that I could relate to intimately. And, you know, I film Michael Mann and like Ving Rhames, like, you know, gave me the permission to, like, you know, tackle this stuff, man. And use it.
Okay. What kind of boxer was Will Smith?
He got to be a very fine boxer, bro. Like, I don't think, like, you know, I've always said, and I'll say this till the day I die, man, there's no A-list actor at that time who would have committed themselves the way that Will Smith committed themselves to the role of Muhammad Ali. This guy was completely, like, desperately in search of Muhammad's spirit. And that, like, you know, includes the Muhammad Ali who was a black Muslim and the Muhammad Ali who was a fighter in pain. And, like, you know, I saw Will maybe about a year ago. He was out here doing he was in Atlanta doing Bad Boys 3, man, and we connected, man. It was beautiful, man. Like, dude, like, you know, man, dude, there's no one that I can think of, man, like, you know, that would have done justice to that role like you did. I'm not, you know, and I'm not just saying that because he's Will Smith. I don't think, like, you know, there's no one that could have done it better than you did, man. The commitment, because, like, you know, people say, like, you know, well, like, you know, he was in and out. You know, like, you know, in the scenes with, like, you know, when he's not in the ring, but, like, you know, if you look at Will Smith, like, you know, in the ring as Muhammad Ali, shit, who's doing that? I don't think anyone's doing that. You know, like you know,
did you?
Yeah,
Michael, did you ever meet Ali?
I did. Yeah, I did. Do you know the writer Thomas Hauser?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He's actually a buddy.
There we go. Well, Tom was a dear friend of mine, man. And after interestingly enough, after I lost to Herbie High, Thomas Hauser, he gives me a call. I have no idea how we got in contact with him. Like, you know, he gave me a call and said, Michael, like, I'd like you to, like, you know, come to my apartment, like, you know, just, like, you know, hang out with me. So we would hang out and blah, 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 like, you know. And I found out, like, you know, when I found out that Tom had written a book that was turned into a film with Jack Lemmon, with Missing.
Mm-hmm.
You familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, you know, that blew my mind because, once again, I'm a film head. I'm like, you know, a massive film head, man. So Tom and I, like, you know, had this connection, man. And one day, like, you know, a few months later, he says, Michael, like, you know, I'd like, I'm having dinner with a dear friend of mine. I'd like to invite you. I'm like, great. So we met at this dinner at this restaurant in Manhattan, and I had no idea that Muhammad was coming. And Muhammad walks in with his wife Lonnie, and dude, like, you know, Muhammad was the only, like, you know, I've had a lot of heroes, a lot of people who I've looked up to. A lot of my heroes, like, you know, I've met. I've never met Chris Chambers, but, like, you know, Muhammad is the only hero that I've met who, how can I say this without being, like, you know, harsh? I'll say it. Muhammad was the only hero that I've met personally who wasn't an asshole. Because, like, you know,
well, yeah.
You know, what's that expression, like, you know, when you meet your heroes, like, you know, they'll break your heart?
Yep.
I've met a good majority of my heroes, and they've all turned out to be assholes. I've met Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
I've met some other blah 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 whose names I won't mention.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you know, I completely get, like, you know, these guys, like, you know, being curmudgeons, because, like, you know, it's a difficult industry, man, and if, like, you know, people can, like, you know, shit on you, they will. It's like George Foreman. if George Foreman can shit on Michael Benn, guess what? He will. You know what I mean? It's life. But Muhammad was the only guy. Muhammad, I can say in full, in full honesty, Muhammad was as graceful a human being as I've ever met. And to hold
that's what I've heard from everybody. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Graceful, funny. Was had always had that always had that twinkle in his eye, man. Now he was plugged into something different. You know what I mean? When I found out he died, I was in New York at that time. Are you familiar with the actress Anna Devere Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she's a dear friend of mine. I've been lucky enough to train out of the last 15 years, man. And she's a dear friend of mine. She sent me a text. I had no idea Muhammad passed. And her text said, Muhammad's gone. Damn. And that's when I found out, that Muhammad passed away. A few weeks later, I'm with my manager up in Rye, New York. And, we're having lunch, blah, blah, blah. We're having, a late night dinner, man, at this diner. And footage comes on about Muhammad's funeral, bro. And I just, lose it. I lost it. I just started crying and blah, blah. I'm like, damn, dude. It was he was a beautiful cat. A beautiful dude, man. He got it. He got it. And
did he do magic tricks for you?
No, did he? No. He didn't do that.
Okay.
No.
He's kind of famous for doing that. You also got to be in $1 Million Baby, which was directed by Clint Eastwood. That's my neighbor down here in Monterey area. What were your impressions of Clint?
This guy, one of the Clint Eastwood is one of the only directors that I've worked with that he would never call action. He would always say whatever you do, guys. And I have one fight scene in the thing, I think I got edited out, but while we were shooting this thing, it's a fight scene, and after the take, I asked Mr. Eastwood, is there anything women do different? Blah blah blah. What he said to me? He said, no. You're the boxer. Do what you got to do. If it's right, if it feels right for you, it's right for me. Whoa, holy shit. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I've always admired him, as an actor, but when I got a chance to work with him as a director, man, that he really boosted my confidence in terms of if he believes it, I believe it. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I looked at International Movie Database, and there's a film that's just been completed. It's called Saving Little Italy, and you're part of that cast. You play a guy named Jules. Can you tell us what can you tell us about that film?
I can't tell you anything about that because, that has been bubbling in the works the last 3 or 4 years, and I don't know. I know I met the person who is the producer of that show, in 2015, and maybe it's still maybe they in post production, but I have nothing. I have no idea what the story is with that film.
Okay.
Hey,
sometimes that happens, man.
You think?
How engaged are you with the boxing scene these days?
Outside, occasionally, serving as a writer for certain boxing publications. That's the extent of it. I'll do I'll write a couple of articles for a boxing magazine overseas. I think it's a British Monthly. I'm a contributor to that. But in terms of full-on boxing. I admire it, but I'm just not like not actively or as active as I could be or should be. You know what I mean?
Are you paying attention to the heavyweights, the heavyweight division?
Oh, absolutely. Of course, yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you think of it? What do you think of the heavyweight division today?
It's exciting. I don't think I think the talent is one thing, but I think in this in today's world, with this nanosecond news cycle, talent means nothing. And you have to bring excitement to the thing, man. And Deontay Wilder, he personifies that. I love I love Andy Ruiz, man. I had a friend of mine who's from New York. He's a trainer, and when he said to me, he called me the day of the fight with Ruiz and Joshua, and I'm like, my man, check this out. There's no way in the world that's Anthony Joshua. If all things are on the level, there's no way that Anthony Joshua beats this cat Andy Ruiz, man. That boy can fight. He's been in the game.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. And I remember seeing Andy Ruiz. This is 2013, 14, and I'm like, yo, this boy can fight. He may not look the part, but it probably serves him because when you don't look the part, people let their guards down, man. And this boy can fight. He's well rounded. He takes a great shot. He has a great boxing IQ. He has experience. Blah blah blah. The only thing that can stop him is his lack of commitment.
Yeah, although you know what, he's looking pretty damn good right now for this rematch. He's slimmed down. I don't know whether that's going to help him or not, but yeah, he looks like he's taking it seriously, and he may just do it again. He may beat him again.
When the guy stops you, when a guy makes you stop, because I watched that fight with Andy and Joshua several times. Joshua didn't have to he could have continued the fight. Could have continued, but Andy made him quit. When the guy makes you quit, it's hard to overcome that psychologically because he made you quit. I mean, looking if you go back and watch the fight, the referee had nothing to do with the stoppage. That was that was AJ. No. I don't want. Okay, no. I don't want any more. And I get it, but if you find that guy again, how are you going to overcome that?
Yeah.
Without
interesting. Well.
Yeah. I don't think he does.
Michael, is there anything you miss about being a fighter?
The one thing I miss about being a fighter, an amateur fighter, not a pro, because the pros and the amateurs are like a whole different animal. As an amateur, the stakes are at the elite level of the amateurs. The stakes are just as high as they are in the pros. Of course, the pros has the money, which which is always nice to have. But in the high stakes amateur realm, the stakes are just as high. And I miss is the camaraderie of your guys, man. One of the guys who I was really good friends with, are you familiar with a guy named Lauren Ross?
That name's not familiar to me. Lauren Ross.
Okay, he was the light heavyweight national champion for the U.S. Army back in the 85 and 86. He lost to who was the light heavyweight who represented the U.S. in 88? He didn't represent the U.S. in 88. He lost to somebody else. I think from the Army. Anyway, but like Lauren Ross is like, a dear friend of mine, man. Like he was from Tennessee. And one of my most memorable moments as an amateur boxer, I had fought this great Russian named Alexander Yagubkin. You know that name?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So Alexander Yagubkin beat me like 5-0 in the Moscow Goodwill Games in '86. No. He beat me in the World Championships in Seoul, Korea in '85. And in 1986, the U.S. had a team that was challenging them at the World Championships this was in Reno, Nevada. And once again, like, I'm facing the guy who beat me and who also beat my brother, Winston. And, I had a massive thing for this guy. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I got a chance to work with Georgie Benton, like, in between those fights. And, like, Georgie hit me to some game, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up outpointing this great Russian, Alexander Yagubkin. I was the first man to beat him, like, in like 5 years as an amateur boxer on the U.S. boxing team. And I see this guy, like, after the fight, like, rushing through the crowd. And it's Lauren Ross, and he's fucking crying, man. It's like tears, like, streaming down his face, man. And he comes to me. He was like, we were teammates. And he comes to me and he hugs me. I'm getting chills right now, bro. He comes to me and he hugs me, and he says, "Man, you did it. You did it. You beat your Gubkin, man." And so like, as life does, me and Lauren Ross, like, lost contact. The last time I spoke to him was like I was in LA, maybe 2011, 2012, and we, like, made a promise to, like, stay in touch, blah, blah, blah. One day in 2014, 13, I get up and, like, and I'm surfing the internet, and something, comes across, boxer killed in Tennessee, blah, blah, blah. So I, like, I press on the details, man, this fucking Lauren Ross. I'm like, God damn. Lauren Ross got shot and killed in Tennessee.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, tell me about it, man. And this guy was the heart and soul, like, of the USA boxing team, like, back in the days. We traveled to Moscow together. We traveled to Korea together. We traveled to all these different countries together. But, like, there was tension between, like, the USA boxing guys and the Army boxing guys. But, like, Lauren Ross, like, he was the guy to, like, break up the the tension between those, like, different sets.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you fought one other absolute legend of amateur boxing, 5-time world champion, 3-time Olympic champion, Felix Savon from Cuba. How good was that guy?
You know what? Stylistically, nah, I don't want to get, like, burnt in apathy for this man, but, like, stylistically, he was a notch above average stylistically. But if he didn't have that right hand, well, no. Essentially, the right hand is what made him. Because as average as he was as, a boxer, that right hand was crushing. He put, like, he scored knockouts against a number of, like, high caliber A-list American heavyweights, Shannon Briggs, like he stopped Shannon, like and a number of guys, man. But like I fought Savone twice, man, and like although he hurt me a number of times, he never stopped me. We fought twice within the space of like maybe like I'll say a month. We fought at the Pan Am Games, where he decidedly beat me. Like he clearly beat me 5-0, and then we fought at the North American Championships in Toronto, and the next morning he beat me like I think like 3-2, but the next morning I'm downstairs waiting on the ride to go to the airport, and the Cuban boxing team come to me and they say, "Hey Ben, you beat Savon last night, man. You beat him." Now, for the Cuban to come to you and say that, the Cubans don't give up for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that fight's online, man. If you want to check that fight out, you can check that fight out. Me and Felix in Toronto. Did I do enough to beat him? Possibly, but at that point, he's a bigger name, man. So he's going to represent North America because he's the name. I get it. But Felix Ferron, you had to be very wary of that cat, man. And I think I'm one of the only guys, one of the few Americans to ever give him a standing 8 count.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Michael Bent was one of the most decorated amateur boxers of his generation. He went on to win the WBO Heavyweight Championship of the World. He's an actor, a writer, a public speaker, and a boxing consultant. Hey, man, so much fun talking to you today, Mike. As far as I know, you're the first guest we've ever had on this show who ever played Othello. So thanks for being a part of this show this week, man. It's been a blast.
My pleasure, Dennis. It's been my absolute pleasure, bro.
All right, fantastic. Michael Bent on the Ringside Boxing Show, everybody. Hey, do you like this show? Do us a solid and tell other boxing fans about our podcast. Post the Ringside Boxing Show on your social media sites and help us grow. I also want to remind you that John Raspanti and I wrote an Amazon bestseller called Intimate Warfare, The True Story of the Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward Boxing Trilogy. It's received a rating of almost 5 stars from readers, and we're pretty proud of that. John also has a brand new one out. It's called Blood on My Notebook, Dispatches from the World of Professional Boxing, and that one's also available online. We want to thank our expert analyst, Travis Hartman, Rizwan Zahid, and my partner, John J. Raspanti, our British correspondent, Paul McLaughlin, and another huge thanks to today's featured guest, former WBO heavyweight champion, Michael Bent. And, of course, we appreciate you guys, Ringside Nation, for being a part of our worldwide audience again today. Keep your chin tucked, and we'll talk to you again next week on the Ringside Boxing Show.
Well, it's a great day for me to whoop somebody's ass. It's a bad day, so you better get off of my back. You might get cold cocked if you cross my path. It's a great